Welcome everyone once again to the regular weekly show on U2 Spain. I'm Skatz and today I'll be talking to my friend and yours, residency specialist Chris from Upsticks.es, all about the latest non-lucrative visa developments and what a crazy year we've all had. And we'll be looking ahead to see what we can expect in the near future. So as usual, we'll be answering all of your questions and comments from social media, from the live chat and from the comments below about today's topic. If you're watching the recordings of the show, you can find the time codes and chapter headings for each of the answers you need along here and in the video description below. So, welcome to U2 Spain. Get ready to dance. Here we go. Thanks once again to the very groovy and talented wizard of a musician, Lee Spreadbury, for that theme music. You can find the link to his excellent YouTube channel below. Now, very quickly before I introduce Chris, here are the usual important messages. It'll only take a moment. You can thank us for the help you get today by buying me a coffee via the link in the video description below, or you can become a regular patron and receive extra videos and information that aren't available to the public. And these links, if you can't find them below, are on our wonderful website. Now, I'm just going to show you what that looks like. Here we go. I've not shown you that before. Here it is. There you go. That's the front page, the home page, and that we've got that's packed with loads of information and articles and lots of links which can help you with your move to Spain. So join the community there, and there are other helpful links where you can get discounts on lots of things that you need, including getting the best currency exchange help from Smart Currency Exchange, another one of our wonderful partners, so you can maximize your spending money and pension in Spain safely. And if you use that link, you'll be helping U2 Spain and it won't cost you a penny. And the website's very first, here we go, you'll like this, the very first email newsletter is going to be going out very, very soon, and that's going to look like that. So if you would like to be a recipient of that newsletter, then that'll be going out very soon. Sign up today to receive that, because that should be going out tomorrow. And once again, of course, we'll be giving out prizes for the best questions and comments from you. So without further ado, let's meet my guest for the day. It's Chris Goodacre from Upsticks. Hola, Chris.
Morning. Hola. Buenos dias.
Buenos dias. How are you doing?
Yes, very well, thanks. Very well.
Good. And
must admit, I was slightly tired. I got up early to come into work, but we went to a new curry house in Alarin last night, which was quite nice.
Oh, very nice. You'll have to tell me all about that.
First one. Yeah.
I've not been for a curry since coming to Spain, but I've heard there's a few good ones around here as well on the coast.
Oh, cool.
So just say good morning to it says AK Mitchell, that's Anton Kerry, good morning, and that's from still very hot France. And hello Yogi and Alan and Steve and Barry from Unitech is back, and good morning Alan Machaffey and Steve Southam. And there we go. And Yogi is asking, where's that beautiful background in Spain? That's in the mountains just behind Compita, where I go for a walk. And I think if I point the right finger, that is Nerja and Frigiliana, I think, just down by the coast there. Well, Nerja's on the coast, Frigiliana's just up in the mountains. But it all looks like one little town from here. There you go. So thank you for joining us. And viewers, how's the year been for you? That's what we're talking about today. Tell us in the comments below. And while I remember, if you do have comments about the video, please put them below the video rather than on some random Facebook page where you saw the link to the show, because those comments kind of get lost and don't get seen by everybody who watches the video. Put them on YouTube where they can be seen. Okay, so let's start then, Chris, with the updates about the non-lucrative visa. What's the latest news in the world of embassies, visas and residency? There's been the strike and the backlog and stuff like that.
Yes, I've got a few more grey hairs. That's the update. A lot more. No, look, we seem to be rolling now, as one for a better word, really. We're coming into the summer period, and after the strike, from the spring strike and everything that's happened, everything seems to be jumping back to normal. The London consulate, I have to say, have done extremely well and honoured their promise of when I went back last month. They said, no, we will be putting on more daily appointments. from June onwards, and they did that. There was a bit of a hiccup with the appointment booking system for a few days, where it just went down, and then when you jumped on, they were only showing student and work visa appointments, and just this last week now, what we've seen is that the links that they send out to clients is actually working. You're going straight onto the non-lucrative appointment, and there's plenty every single day. So that's really good news for people in the London area. Manchester have been a bit slower in catching up and a bit haphazard, and they've changed their email address for booking appointments as well now. But they seem to have caught up and they're now responding. So that's good, but they were quite slow at first, frustrating. And that's it in Edinburgh. Yeah, Edinburgh doesn't have as much traffic, does it? So it's I think we don't know yet, but their turnaround times are always not very good in terms of, so
who's got the best then? Is that London have got, what's their turnaround time?
Manchester pretty similar. And I have to say that I don't know who's taken over at London. Well, I've met the guy who's taken over doing the visas, whether it's the same guy there now, I don't know. A very nice guy with long hair. They're very conscientious about the way they do things. And in terms of, I think they're under a lot of stress as well, but they seem to be trying to adhere to people's timescales and stuff. So, yeah.
So they've all got that similar, 3 or 4 weeks turnaround?
Yeah, I mean, they've got 90 days, but it depends when your expected entry date is into Spain, and when you should coincide that always with the start of your health insurance. Really, that's the best thing to do. So most people go around a month before and coincide the expected entry date. We will try and get it to the first of the month if possible. Start the healthcare on the first of the month, and then when you go to your appointment, that's all clean. And and more or less they're adhering to that either 6 weeks to a month before. So good.
Brilliant. Do you have any shout outs, by the way? I was going to ask
yes, yeah. I saw Alan. Alan's I've been talking to Alan, who's on the chat. He's on there. There's Matt from Lincoln, who I was talking to, and there's one other shout out which I would like to give to Mel, who I'm going to be seeing in Murcia actually on Monday. So it's my first trip up to Murcia, because I've got to go to Alicante, well overdue going there to see somebody. So I'm going to go and do a bit of a road trip Monday, Tuesday.
So is that about as far as you go to the east? Is that Alicante?
No, well, actually, at the moment, we've also got we've got a service, an appointment specialist in Alicante who's going to cover Torrevieja, Orihuela, Alicante City, and also now we've just joined forces with somebody in Valencia as well. So there's a bit of an area there. They're a really good firm who's been helping us out doing the Tomo de Huella appointments, the stage 2s. So we can go all that way. We haven't really got Castellón covered yet, but that's we're getting there. The network is expanding.
Good stuff. And you can go as far west as you can go in Spain, can't you?
Yes, and Lanzarote. We've got somebody in Lanzarote as well. So
that's quite far. Good. So any other news from the embassies?
I mean, that's about it. Obviously, they've updated their websites as well, which are looking good and working. Again, they had a bit of they're being constantly updated as well. When you jump on, they didn't really work properly at first, but now they're looking good, and that's worldwide. So that's good
to know, because a lot of the links to things that I used to put on the videos, on the older videos, they said no error 404, which is where they can't find the link anymore.
Yeah, they did just check those, because they have updated quite a lot, and they continue to update. But they're looking good, and they're working well as well. Good. So that's good. So the websites, it looks like everybody's up and running, and I mean, the only thing we've got now is, which I think we're going to talk about anyway, was how is the dreaded August going to affect us?
Yeah, I mean, that affected everybody quite a lot last year. Should we go through kind of the last year and what's happened? Because it really has been a mad, hectic year. It's more like a year and a half, isn't it, since that dreaded B word of Brexit?
Yeah, it is. So I think we were saying, like, it's a year because we're coming up to now renewal time for people, aren't we? So even people, when we started it back in March, when the consulates opened again, I mean, it's just. Even I was sat yesterday evening looking at this packed restaurant, and I'm going, you can't believe how we were even 18 months ago, can you? It's just, back to normal life. It's crazy. So even then, when the consulates opened, people were very unsure on. Everybody was looking really at the previous experience of places like America and looking at the initial information that they gave us at the consulates with the legislation and what happened in places like America to see what the requirements were going to be. And I don't even think the consulates were too sure as well, because it was their first go at it as well. So, famously, we had like the income with the bank statements, which is actually still the same. We always advise people, unless it's London, 6 months. Manchester only taking 3 months at the moment, but we tell people take 12 anyway. And, each one was different. So that was a bit crazy. And obviously then we just got into a rhythm just before summer, where we were like understanding the requirements for the healthcare, because that changed, where they suddenly stopped accepting annually renewable policies. And they wanted to see an annual policy. There was a massive reaction from a lot of the healthcare companies to adjust their certificates and provide a product which could adhere to that. Obviously the S1s as well. Initially they weren't taking S1s, then they were accepting S1s. There was, at the beginning they said an S1 had to be registered in Spain to be accepted, but that would be impossible. It's chicken and egg situation. Then we had a situation where people were having to post us S1s here. We were posting it back because they needed an address in Spain. Then obviously now you can get one in the UK. So we had that, didn't we? We had then the disaster of the student visa, more in London than anything, where a lot of people started their process and ran out. The paperwork ran out because they didn't get an appointment. I could a big another shout out there to Mr. David Perry, who's finally, it happened to him, then he came to us. We were like, just wait, don't do anything again. Let's see what happens. The moment it kicked off, we started again, and now he's happily living in Lanzarote, so that's great.
Excellent.
But he got caught up in all of that, and I felt so sorry for him. When I speak to him the first time, because he'd done everything to the letter, and just needed managing.
And that was the first time, of course, that students from the UK who were hoping to be students in Spain had to apply for visas. So this is a massive backlog that we're hoping is not going to happen this year.
Well, they look to be more prepared this year, with the booking system that London have got. They didn't have that in place this time last year, and it does seem to work really well. You can, once you've got your code. The first thing they did was, and quite rightly so, was get rid of all professionals and specialists who are trying to get appointments on behalf of their clients. So what happened was, when I went in September, I think September last year or November again, can't remember, a couple of times, they said to me, look, the problem was that people, to justify obviously what work they're doing for their clients, were hammering the email every day. I want an email for my client. I want an email for my client. They just blocked it all up. And which is fair enough, but they just couldn't keep up with that demand. And that's when they've come up with the booking system. So the booking system, basically, they won't accept emails from representatives. That's fair enough, because we can still tell people how to do it. Once you get your code, the code allows us or the clients to jump on, check out the availability, book, and even change the date up to 4 days beforehand. So, that system works really well.
Brilliant. Let's just answer some of these questions that we've got. We've got a great big long line of them. Jason, I've answered that question. Can Upsticks deal with the visa applications, translation of forms required, and Spanish local authority forms and NIEs, etc., on my behalf? And I said yes.
Yes.
So there we go.
Drop us an email to support.
Yeah.
Upsticks.es, and we give you all that information.
And Robbo says, can we have details of your Alicante Torre Vieja representatives, as I'll be looking to start our NLV process in April 2026. That's looking ahead.
Yeah, no problem. Great. What is good is, I think Robbo's commented on a couple of my YouTube videos as well. And he's just keeping, I think a lot of it as well is now people who are planning is just getting a feel for what a non-lucrative visa is, and who to engage with. Evidently drop us an email, and also the the non-lucrative visa community, the help that's out there, so the earlier the better. Things change, as we know, but the earlier the better, and it's good.
Yes, get on the mailing list on my website, and Robbo as well. And if you can't find Chris's email on his website, which is fairly easy, then there's a click button on the latest newsletter, so you can get to that. That Jason and Robbo are chatting to each other because they're going to be moving to the same area. And JM, this interesting question. Ignore me if a question about the golden visa is not welcome. It is welcome, that's fine. Are you constrained by the 90 and 180 rule? I know you can only need to spend 1 day, but can you spend more than 90 and 180?
If you've got a golden visa, yes.
Yeah. Basically, if you've got a visa, you're not constrained. But and the question would be, it would be more of a tax question about how many days you actually spend in Spain if you've got the golden visa. If you're only spending 1 day a year, then you're not going to be a tax resident.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot more golden visas now at the moment. A lot more people have held off and they're planning for the golden visa.
And Yogi says, Skatz, I hear you'll be making a guest appearance on Expat of Mazaron's channel later in the month. I don't know if it's later this month or we haven't fixed a date yet, I don't think. But yeah, I'm gonna get him on this channel as well. So we're gonna do a bit of a swap. That's going to be a lot of fun.
He asked you as well. That's cheeky.
Hey?
He asked me as well.
Did he? He wants to be everywhere. But we all want to be everywhere, don't we? We'll all just.
You know what? Channel supporting channels is brilliant.
Yeah.
All resources for people. Evidently for us, it brings us work, which is great. We're not gonna gloss over that, are we? It's great we get out there with the channels, but I think in general, it's great for the community. So yeah, why not?
Brilliant. And Robbo's asking, what's the current costs for your services from start to finish of the NLV? We did a big video about that with what does it cost recently, but is there a figure you can quote, Chris?
So our fee, only our fee, which is per person, is €595, including the VAT and your registration tax in Spain. Everything else, we basically, depending on your individual circumstance, will stipulate in an email. So you can't package up anything other than that because people's circumstances are different. So what we try and do, for example, when we have our discovery call, is like things like the healthcare letter. For example, now we're seeing a lot more we've got private medical centres up and down Spain now, which will do the letter, for as little as €30. It's normally there's the most expensive one, but the quickest one up in Alicante is like 85. There's one down here that will do it for 30. We're going to stand in a queue for like half an hour. So, but that's a lot less hassle than actually doing it in the UK. So things like people who are doing discovery trips now, which we didn't have last year, we're trying to build that into the timeline. Saves money. So things like that are variables.
There's quite a few, aren't there? I know that you might need a power of attorney for one or two things like I did, so that's an extra 50 or 55, isn't it?
Yeah, depending on, so if you're, for example, like you had an it's like an EU family members package that we call it, you might actually, that's completely different. You might need a power of attorney for an NIE first, unless you come to the NIE appointment. And we were trying to push people to give us, just for the NIEs, a POA, because it gives us a bit more flexibility and also gives you flexibility. Because we can do a load all in one go, and we seem to tend to get them back quicker. And also, this police station still now, Malaga won't let the representatives in unless our service specialist, our appointment specialist, Tom, he's absolutely, I don't know how he does it. He gets in every time. He's amazing. But I go and it's like, no, you can't go in. So, Tom, you're off again. But yeah, so it's always better to do it like that. But yeah, depending on the circumstance, there's parts of the paperwork you can actually do in Spain, and other parts which you might have to manage it all from the UK. So we do a lot of new NLVs, but I never actually meet the people, unfortunately. And we have some where people come to the office twice.
There we go. Jason Sweeney's back. Hello. He's been he's off the scene for a while. Hope all is good. We'll be in contact with Chris September time. Yeah. So has he got a call booked already?
A drop us an email if you want, and we'll sort it
Yeah.
out.
And anything else that's been going on? Did I cut you off? It always the basic theme of the year, isn't it, has been that systems weren't in place 12 to 18 months ago, and now they are. That's kind of the story of the year. Everything is being tightened up, and people are getting used to the job at the UK embassies of actually doing visas, which they weren't doing before for UK people.
Yeah, no, certainly in both ends as well. Because I can remember the first visas that we took into the Extranjería here to register the stage 2. They were like, "No, you need a Brexit appointment." I'm going, "No, it's a visa. It's a visa. Look." And that kind of thing. Where here they're flying through now, so they've seen it. I mean, we've had again, I don't think of Barbara, our client, who the fastest ever turn. I'll give her a shout out. The fastest ever turnaround for paperwork to go to Edinburgh. She did it all in 13 days.
Whoa!
13 days, fast tracked everything, and it just went really well. And there's something there. When you do get your visa, it's very important to check it properly, because they've made a mistake on her entry date, and she wanted to come back into Spain very quickly, and she had an expected date starting March, and they put May, which would have left her stranded in the UK with the best of all sorts of things. But they were very good. They changed it very, very quickly. She sent a passport. She posted a passport back, and it came within 24 hours back. So,
Brilliant. That's all very good to hear, and hopeful for everybody who's going to be applying.
Yeah.
So there must be more requests coming in all the time for renewals now, because it's been over a year. How do you think these applicants have been coping in life with Spain? Have you heard from them, and what's the word on the street there?
Yeah, we have. There's unfortunately we've had 2 clients go back. They just didn't adapt. I mean, I think there's probably a show in it as well, talking to people about life, and we've been discussing this in the office as well. There was always a massive rush post coronavirus. There was a massive rush to come to Spain, but obviously there wasn't any opportunity to do discovery trips at the time. It's a massive upheaval, especially if you've got family in the UK. Also, the time that you're restricted to, if you want to continue that residency to the 5-year point, then so we've had a couple go back, but on the other hand, we've had some people who are absolutely loving it. Really, really got themselves set up well, just amazingly. And a lot of people who, have had to embrace the whole driving license thing as well, going through that. And the great show, by the way, last week. That was fantastic. I think it really worked well.
A great guest, yeah.
Brilliant. I mean, whatever your opinion is on it, I think that kind of show really works, isn't it? And yeah, people have really been embracing life here, and comfortable, settled down, and enjoying themselves. So it's a mainly positive message out there, but maybe there is more now to talk about probably the mental preparation as well. A few years to come into Spain, what changes are you going to experience, in terms of life and culture and everything?
Are there fewer people returning to the UK than they used to?
Yeah. I mean, we've had a couple of people, it just didn't suit them, but yeah, I mean, we're talking, probably of everybody we've dealt with, there's probably 2% gone back. Everybody else is smashing it.
Yeah, I noticed that because of Brexit, because people have to get visas, they tend to be more prepared, don't they?
And with the finances as well. So we've got a lot of clients who've really had to do a lot of restructuring and really conscientious about the way they're doing things for the next 5 years, which you have to be when you're on a visa, in your visa situation. So and that sort of forward planning and structuring has really worked, because when you come to the renewals and you ask them for certain documents, they're so that, we're going to be doing one for, I think they'll probably be on here as well, the Websters, Joe and Gary, who are one of our first non-lucrative visas. They'll probably be watching today, so I'll say hello to them. And they've really followed everything that we said, and that should fly through. So it's good to be working with people like that.
Yes, good stuff. We've got a question from Zach. My stepson in his late 20s holds an Irish passport. If he wanted to settle in Spain, what's the advice for me and his mother to join him? We both have UK passports.
You would need, if you're retiring, you'd need obviously an NLV, and Zach, if he's got an Irish passport, then he would come over on his Irish passport.
Yeah. So there's no way they can kind of link in together and benefit from his Irish passport.
Not if they're all independently healthy and nobody depends on anybody else. And I think that
Yeah.
No.
So they have to have a visa. There you go. Sorry about that. Zach, there we go. If you have any more questions and you need to know about non-lucrative visas from Chris, then yeah, go to his website and get a call there. And yes, hello to anybody else that's joined us on the chat. Lovely to see you. Oh, Rochelle's there as well. Hi, Rochelle. You answered the question. Thank you for that. And let's see. Actually, I was going to say I'm starting to see more requests and questions on social media for information about getting a job or starting a business over here, which means also more people below the age of 50 have been watching the show and subscribing and asking questions and trying to find out how they can get residency here. Are you noticing a change in age group on for you as well, Chris, requesting callbacks?
Yes, yeah, we are. Yes, there's a lot of people. We're getting a lot. I don't know if it's because of YouTube. We're getting a lot of worldwide NLVs as well now, not just the UK, which are different. Yeah, there's definitely a slightly younger demographic of people coming over. And I said there's that whole sort of group of people where there isn't really a visa structure which suits them at the moment, because they're not going to come over. They wouldn't fit into the self-employed structure. They don't have money for a golden visa. An NLV wouldn't work because they evidently need to work, although they may have enough money for the first year. After that year, what would they do? So there is a whole demographic of people you can't really fit into a visa structure yet that we have coming through. Unfortunately, a lot of them may be able to, when finally the digital Nomad visa is released, might be able to fall into that. So that might be something else. But yeah, there's definitely the economy is opened up, hasn't it? Everybody's seen it. I don't know where it is, how it is where you are, but here on the coast, it's absolutely stacked. Everybody's stacked out. So with that, it brings these kind of inquiries.
Yeah. I noticed the other week there's definitely more people around on the streets and in the restaurants, even up here in the mountains.
Yeah. I think it's strange because there is obviously this crisis, a price of living crisis going on. But I mean, I think obviously there's a lot of cash probably from people who are coming over or saved cash to come over. So maybe we don't see much.
Yeah, because people haven't been able to have holidays for the last 2 years. Most people.
No, they haven't, have they? And I mean, it's just mentally busy at the moment.
Yeah. Question from Anthony and Kerry, actually. This is an interesting one. They've got an NIE already, used the British passport to get it. Now they have an Irish passport. One of them does. Can she update the NIE before residency so it's one less thing to do? Actually, it's Anthony, isn't it?
No need. So we actually had two last week. That's something else we can talk about, is just the changing of nationalities. So we had two last week. Initially when we did Irish residencies for people who had their NIEs from a British passport, they were a bit strange in this taquerias. They were asking for things like a certificado de concordancia and a signed document from the consulate. We actually got a document from the Irish consulate here in Fingarola, which is we print off every time, which basically states that the Irish passport holder is verified as that person. They said, we're not doing this individually, just have that as a template and try. And that was part of last year's madness. This year, again, that settled down quite well. So we had two this week, and they flew through Malaga as normal, should we say, EU residency applications, which they just switched. They keep the same NIE, but they switch the nationality to Irish. The only thing you do have to do is evidently have both passports. It's very, very important if you're doing any sort of switch And obviously, it does depend on who you get on the day a lot of these times. But at the moment, we're finding it's a lot better now. And just make sure you've got both passports with you.
Mm. So is that the certificate of concordancia? Is that's kind of the document they have to sign to get that done?
No, you don't need
Yeah.
that now. That was what they were requesting before, but now it's fine. That's got out the window. So I'll be honest, with that one, we went to Malaga and they requested that, and we just walked out, booked an appointment in Vélez, went there. They're like, yeah, I have it. So instead of adhering to Malaga, we just went to the police station. But yeah, so now they're going really well. They're going really well at the moment, and also non-lucrative switches to Irish. So people who have had non-lucratives for the first year, and then they're switching to now they've got their Irish passports and they're going on the EU. That's working as well. A bit of head scratching goes on behind the desk, but it can be done.
Yes, I bet there is. Head scratching behind the desks. That's another theme for the last year. Ian Fleming says we've got a NLV meeting next week. Any general tips?
Yeah, so don't drink any beer before you go in. If it's in the afternoon, make sure you don't have a 12 o'clocker. No, seriously, just make sure that when you go that your paperwork is in order and in separate files. Yes, we always advise our clients. In fact, we're changing our files that we're sending out to ones. I realise that as nice as the plastic ones are, people don't use them because they can't fit everything in. So we're going to give people bigger files. Make sure that all your documents, starting with your application forms, are in order. 2 separate files. If there's 2 of you, don't mix your documents. If there's any documents which are in commune for your applications, make sure the original's in one and there's 2 copies, so you've got one on each side. I actually got asked this week if there was a dress code or not. No, there isn't a dress code, but evidently, Bermudas and probably not a good idea, and so probably go smart. It is an office, administrative office as such, and just make sure that copies. If you walk away with a lot of recycling, then that's better than not having any at all, missing anything.
Belt and braces, that's the word.
Get there early and just check for your local post office or Photoshop in case anything that you've got there needs to be copied, sent, or you need to buy any envelopes to, if you haven't got them for your returning your passport, or check the area out first.
Extra question from Ian. When we get the NLV and our house goes through, we intend staying in Spain. However, our son is in uni in the UK. If he needs to join us after leaving uni, what are his options?
Depends how old he is, really, and if he could come under you as a beneficiary or not.
If he's normal university age, then he'd leave after 3 years at 21. Is he still within the age limit to come over?
If he can prove that he's a beneficiary of theirs, then they might have an option.
Yeah. Okay then. So it's yeah. Okay then. And another question about the golden visa: how often can you renew it if you don't want residency?
You get a residency card as such. You get your TIE card with the golden visa, and it depends on where you get your golden visa from and when you have to renew it. So if you get it from the consulate, you'll have to renew it after the first year. If you get it from in Spain, you renew it after 2 years. Okay.
So that's a good one. And
don't confuse residency, the TIE card, with fiscal residency with a golden visa. It's a whole different thing. Obviously, you don't have that option on an NLV because at some point, by default, if you want to continue to renew your NLV, you have to be a fiscal resident here, but that isn't the case with the golden.
We're going back to Anthony now. He's saying, so the situation was, got the Irish passport and was asking about the NIE. He's renewed his UK passport. Will that still be okay to show those 2, or does he need his old passport when he's showing them that he's the same person as he used to be?
I would keep the old one. We're again, I always go on belts and braces. Okay, now a lot of the time we've got away with a couple with literally just a photocopy, and in one instance we actually just showed them a picture of the UK passport on a phone. Right, belts and braces would be your old UK passport, your new one, and your Irish one. So, and why not? Is keep everything. As I think when you did some of your videos about getting residency, you kept saying just keep everything either digitally, they keep the originals, and that's still always the same.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant. Okay then, and Robo says, Chris, prior to starting the NLV, I assume we will need to know the applicant's financial status, and once you're happy they meet the financial requirements, are you confident they will get the non-lucrative visa?
Yeah, so we have sort of 3 red flags, which is criminal records, healthcare, and financials. Okay, and as long as we can get the okay in all 3 of them, that's when I do a discovery call, that's the kind of, it's really hard because you have to go into those questions quite quickly, so which again YouTube helps because people know who they're talking to when they call us. So but once you get a tick in all those boxes, then we can crack on, and I'm very confident you'll get it.
Brilliant. Oh, and there's look who's online. YouTube Yoga, that's my wife Liz. Hello. Hello, darling. She's in La Raqueta Market in Nerja. Got a stall down there. So, yeah, how's it going down there? Everyone's saying hello. And let's see, anything else? Good question from Zach. When do you think the details of the digital Nomad visa will be released?
Well, it was supposed to be July now. That was the latest news. But I mean, let's be honest. If it doesn't happen in July, it's not happening until October, is it? So, let's hope it's before. But that's the news on the ear to the ground is July. But yeah, if it doesn't happen, then you can forget it until October.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, looking ahead to the future, we're coming up to August. That'll come really, really quickly towards us as we get later into June. So what should people be aware of in the terms of who's not working at that time of year in Spain, the timing of your visas and residency?
Yeah, I mean, it's August is always a terrible month administratively in Spain because although the offices don't close, I'd say like public offices don't close, they always seem to work a lot slower or not as well. People are on holiday. Anything that you can avoid doing in August, if possible, but we'll always do the TIEs, the residencies, everything during the whole year. But if you can avoid that period, then it's better, especially if you're making sort of online applications. What we have found in the past, so maybe using, for example, the DGT, if you're registering a vehicle, what we found in the past was stuff that we put in August would just sit there. Then we put stuff in September that would come out, and the August one would. So there doesn't seem to be come out in chronological order. So what we sort of avoid doing with August, especially with the DGT, the traffic authorities, is try not to put any paperwork in August. It seems to be then go on the August pile, everything else get dealt with in September, and that gets dealt with then. Especially with the extranjerias, the problem you may have is if there's people covering people, then they might not have experienced staff on, which I'm not saying they wouldn't do a good job, because they all do a fabulous job, but they may slow down your process of whatever you're doing. And in general, professionals go on holiday as well in August. So, if you've got a gestor, a lawyer, or anybody acting on your behalf, you'll find, your translator, you'll find that they generally take the last 2 weeks of August off, if not the whole of August.
That is very good to know. Yeah.
The turnaround of what you might be used to of documents in 2 or 3 days might not happen, and we see it a lot. I think we touched on it earlier on when we were chatting, didn't we, about June. June's a crazy month. And it's all about preparing and just being aware that August things could take a lot longer. So
why June in particular? Why is that the crazy month for you?
So we'll say, so with June, what happens with June is obviously it's the slightly off topic with the NLV, but it's the pre-summer month. So for example, our kids finish school on the 24th, I think, and now things have got a lot hotter. Then what happens is there's certain classes and stuff, and the timetables start changing, but quite randomly. So you'll just get a message. Oh, by the way, we've brought that forward to 3 o'clock. It's like, oh, cheers, or like today. Oh, you've got to be at goal for 11:30. Okay, well, I thought you said 12. No, it's got too warm. I've seen it's going to be warm. So, they have this like random cancellation. It's the pre-summer prep, and it really drives you absolutely nuts, to be honest, because as much as you try and plan stuff, you can't. Yeah.
That must be the same for anybody who's got kids here, the people in offices as well. That must be affecting how work gets done as you move into the really hot months.
That's a really good point. Yeah, it must. I mean, it must do, because I'm having to change my work structure and the times that I'm working and stuff. And we've already got like booked calls, so I'm having to say, right, okay, well, if you remember, this didn't happen for 2 years, so this again it's a new experience for me, because I've got younger kids. They were locked down for 2 years. None of this happened. Suddenly, this is the first normal year, and even my daughter's gone into normal. I mean, she's got a massive social life at 5, and then also you have kids bringing parties forward because they're not going to see their friends after the 24th of June. They don't want to do the parties then, so you get like early birthday parties. I think this weekend we've got 6 different places we have to be at different times, because of times that were changed and parties. And I think people who are living here, maybe with younger members of family, will probably start experiencing the same. So it's June's a crazy month. Then obviously you have July, which is the first holiday period for the schools. And the only thing we saw last year was that July and August were very similar, because we're still in this crazy lockdown situation. So they were both quite slow months. Whereas this year, I'd imagine we'd revert back to August being the slow month, right, and July being pretty normal.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And of course, there's the British airports at the moment are in a bit of crisis. There's been so many flights cancelled. I don't know if that's affected any of your clients coming over.
It has, yeah. We've had a few people have had to. I have to say, most people have got around it, so that's good. And I mean, there's a lot of headlines out there. We've had a few people who've had holidays booked, holiday stroke discovery trips booked, and it's affected them. They've had to change their plans, so we've adjusted a few appointments. We've had a few sort of last minute adjustments, not too many.
Okay, Alan Lackenby saying, can you leave a self-addressed envelope to get your visa sent back to you, or do you have to return in person? And can only one person return, or do you both have to be there?
I think you're London, aren't you? Alan, you have to go back to London. I can't remember. I've got it here. If you're in Manchester, you can leave a self-addressed envelope. London, you have to go and get it yourself. But in London, they've always been pretty open to you going and picking up family members as well. So that's fine. Okay,
there we go. And Steve Southern, would you need to register a car to sell it in Spain?
Hey, Steve. I've been speaking to Steve this week. Yes. Well, would you need to register a car? It depends, really. A lot of people, depends what your plans are. So some people actually come over. Well, you did it yourself, I think, Skatz, didn't you? Where they come over with a car, and then if they can find a suitable buyer and make sure the legalities are correct, to take it back, because there's a lot of people that might want a car to drive back. In that sense, then as long as you keep within the rules, then you might be able to, flog it to somebody who's going back. In terms of selling it within Spain to somebody who lives here, yes, obviously you'd need to register it here, because someone who lives here wouldn't want a UK registered vehicle.
Yeah.
So again, I suppose that goes into the I said, Alan, yeah, you can leave it. Sorry, it's Edinburgh, Alan. Sorry, you can leave. Sorry, wrote a comment. You can leave a self-addressed envelope there in Edinburgh.
Great.
So,
and we brought ours over. Well, our car over from Ireland, so slightly different. But I just put it on Marketplace and got a buyer within minutes. So there are people out there. I mean, he had to drive all the way from Alicante to come and get it, but he did it very easily, and he re-registered it. He wasn't even driving back, but he had another car that was just like it, the same model and everything, and he just, I think he needed either parts or a second one just like it, So I think there are a lot of people out there who will, and especially if it's a left-hand drive car, that you can register, like you're saying, Steve. There we go. And question from Yogi: are there any services from Upsticks that help with purchasing a holiday home in Spain?
We don't do conveyancing, so we would do the NIE side of things, but we don't do conveyancing here. We have a lawyer that helps us with that we refer to. But in terms of the actual purchasing, no, we don't get involved in that.
Yeah, we have on our YouTube Spain website, and also coming up at the very last Saturday of this month, I've got Matthew Wood, who from Langeron Properties, coming on. So I'm sure he'll be able to help you with that. And so yes, look out for that one. And oh, here we go. Ian Fleming says, do you recommend paying cash on the day for the NLV or a postal order?
It's card. You have to pay with a card.
Pay by card. There we go. I was wondering about cash.
It's £516, but it's actually 525 because there's a small charge on top of the visa, so it's actually 525 quid.
There we go. And Anthony's back. Do you see the changes in Autonomo rates affecting people's decision already in Spain or yet to come? That's an interesting question.
In terms of affecting people already in Spain, no, I think people who are running their businesses should normally, have a model that encompasses that anyway. It is what it is, isn't it? There's no point moaning about it, though it isn't. Sometimes autonomo rates and the amount that you have to pay to Social Security to even employ people, I personally would rather put a lot more of that money back into the people's pocket than give it to the government. But it is what it is, and people here, I think, seem to be just cracking on. People's decision ready, I don't know, it's a tough one, isn't it? I think as long as people are prepared, what we used to see with the EU platform, that people were quite shocked when they realised how much self-employment costs here. When they're already here, I think people who are coming now are a lot more conscientious and doing their research beforehand. So I don't think €300, whatever it is we get charged at the full rate a month, is going to affect them coming for people who are making their plans. Maybe people who are already here, which, contradicting what I first said, who are going to go autonomo, that might be a shock for them.
Yeah. The thing that strikes me about the new autonomo rates, which I don't know when they're coming in, it might be a gradual thing, but when you earn over, I think it's about 20,000, suddenly it leaps up from the high 200s a month to about 500 and something a month. There's just this massive leap, whereas all of the rates below that are 200 and something, and all of the rates above that are 500 and something and above. So I imagine that there's going to be some constructive accounting going on in the lead up to that, so that people are only showing 20,000 and below, so that they can keep to below the 300. Otherwise, they're just going to have so much more a year to pay.
It's ridiculous. I mean, it really is. I don't want to get too into the subject, but it really is. What they're trying to do is obviously protect autonomos on a minimum wage. Mm-hmm. But there's no sort of encouragement there no one goes autonomo to earn a minimum wage.
Yeah.
I know there might be some people who are forced into having to go autonomo, and it certainly will help people who, I think they're trying to drag out the black economy, people who can paint a few walls. There are a lot of people who are very able-bodied people who can't go autonomo because of the costs, but have little businesses where they could earn a minimum wage, but then they're persecuting people who try to earn more and grow businesses.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to do a show on that one day. We'll maybe get Antonio back on and see how he feels about it.
I don't. It'll be like your show last week.
Yeah. Lots of arguments. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not right. But it is crazy. You do try. It's trying to get the economy moving, and the amount you pay to employ people, you want to do things properly. You have to have insurance for. You have to have protocols, insurance, timetables. I mean, it's so archaic the way the structure is. Here in the office, Jane, who works for us now, has to sign in and sign out. It's ridiculous. And there is work inspections. Here in the business centre, we had a work inspection this week, and one of the ladies downstairs who runs a sewing, she makes flamenco dresses. Mm-hmm. 3 of the girls, 2 were on a practica anyway, 3 weren't registered properly. That's a minimum of €18,000 fine.
Wow. Nasty. Yeah. There you go. So, question for Chris. A large amount in stocks and shares in a prudential account. Well done. Is this suitable evidence for getting the NLV financial requirements?
Good question. Great question. That's one that I put to the consulate when I was there last time. And basically what they said was that they look at each, so anything that falls out of, shall we say, the norm of a passive income, pension, normal passive income, rent or something, a bank deposit, okay, is they look at it on an individual case basis and the documents that you use to provide the security of those assets. Yeah. So it's a little bit of a grey area, because if you're just going with a shares statement, we have had people who have managed to secure an LV with shares and ISAs and all sorts of stuff. But the guy who was there, he said that in Spain, you see, you verify documents digitally or with a stamp. Now in the UK, that doesn't always exist. All right, so they're going to look at how secure are those shares? What is your access to those shares? Can you access them immediately to live on? Because basically what you're trying to prove is that you have funds to live on. So they'll look at an individual case basis, and if you're making a sort of an assessment about what you need to show them, what you do need to demonstrate is obviously the access to the money and the security of the product it's held in, and then they'll decide whether you can use it or not.
Great answer. Ian Fleming said, thank you, Chris. We were told we couldn't pay by card at the embassy. Wish we'd come through you.
No, definitely by card. Definitely by card. Yeah, that's, yeah.
There we go. And Jason, do I need to prove funds for 5 years for an LV, or can it be on a yearly basis on renewal?
It's a great one as well. It's basically for your year. So if we're going into the rounds now of, and I had this conversation with a younger person day before yesterday, is that they're very strict on making sure that you're not going to be working. Okay? So
your age is very important. If you're a younger person, they're going to think this is somebody trying to sneak in and have a job.
Yeah. So that, if there's somebody that could qualify, and they've got the minimum required amount of EPREM and they're younger, but they've maintained that money in an account or whatever, they still could knock you back if there's any sort of a sniff that they believe you're going to be working. So evidently, if you're a younger person and you have 250k in the bank, sat there, and you go to a non lucrative visa and you can verify the source of that money, then there's probably a good chance, and you have a P45, they're going to look at that and go, he doesn't need to work, he's going to have a year out. Yeah. Somebody who's maybe got the EPREM down to a pence, hasn't got a P45 and nowhere to live in Spain, they may question that and say, well, are you actually just will you be working? So if there's any sort of sniff as such that you're going to be working, I suspect you're going to be working, then the more money in the application, the better.
Good stuff. Bye-bye to Rob. He's had to go. And thank you for that. Hasta luego. And here's a good one. Chance for you to plug your business. There you go. What qualifications does Upsticks have that sets itself apart from your competitors in your field?
Apart from the 100 and so NLVs we have under our belt so far, which has been what we're talking about in this program, when we're surrounded, not only myself and the 20 years experience I've got in Spain, we're also surrounded by a network of collaborators who help us out, and all professionals, qualified, and we are yet to lose an NLV and get a rejection, so we're good.
And your expertise is going in and qualifying the objections in the office, isn't it? Which I think is something that is just superb. You're just able to answer the questions.
One of our core focuses is obviously qualifying objections. So you've always got slightly with immigration. It's not black and white, and this is where a lot of the online sources is quite hard, because people put on their personal experiences, and someone could have exactly the same circumstance and have a completely different experience. So it's all about trying to encompass that, and then apply that to a client's needs. So it's you can put anything into a structure. So we have when I'll plug what we do now. But when we start with a client, we always have this email which we call a Let's Get Started email, and I adjust that email to their personal circumstance depending on what's happened in our conversation. And then after that, we speak about the structure of what needs to be done. So you've got your process, and then the structure and the timeline. And you've got to keep flexible, in that. This is a problem, but you've got to have that. So you've got what needs to be done, when it needs to be done, and then try and work with immigration, which is a world of its own.
Mm-hmm. We have actually done a video about this, Yogi. I think it was in March, maybe February or March of this year, and it was called something like who should be doing your visas and residency. That's well worth watching, that one, because that will actually, that shows qualifications and experience and everything that Chris does. So there you go. And that is all the questions at the moment. Does anybody else have any questions? Because Chris has to go at 11 o'clock Spain time. And so we're going to cut the show down to an hour this time. Oh, Steve is back on with one question. If you're self-employed, what paperwork would you need to show you do not intend to work?
So if you've signed, so if you're the HMRC, if you've signed off of being self-employed with intention to come to Spain, should be able to provide you with something along those lines. So you're obviously not going to get P45.
Is it a P60 or something like that?
No, P60 does. And you normally get a letter from the HMRC. We've used them for the cars before, actually, to prove that people are no longer registered with them. The P60 is an annual statement, isn't it, of what you get?
Oh yes, yeah. There you go. That shows my. That's because I was living in Ireland for 8 years. I have no idea what it's called anymore. There we go. So, and Alan says, great show. Take care, everyone. Thank you, everybody on the chat. We need to give a prize away. Who haven't we given a prize to? There we go. I've quite a few on there. Who do you reckon, Chris?
Have we given one to Yogi yet? Yogi's asked a couple of questions there.
I don't think we have. It's a great name. Are you actually a yogi? That would be my question. And if you can get in touch directly with Chris via his website. That's the upsticks.es. It's been on your screen for the whole time, and claim your prize. Give your address. There we go. You might. I wonder where do you live, Yogi? I'm interested. I have so many questions. Just pop that down there while I'm finishing the show off. And I'll also be giving a prize for anybody who leaves a comment on the U2 Spain Facebook group. Come and join that over the next few days, and I'll select the best questions and comments. And don't forget to sign up for the emails on our website. So there we go. That is everything. Shall we say goodbye to Chris, and then I'll tell everybody what's on the next show.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on again, and see you soon.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye for now. Okay, so next week's show. What are we doing next week? I've got a big blank on my screen here of what we're going to do next week. It's going to be a bit of a surprise. I'm just lining up the guests for that, so I don't want to spoil that. I will announce it on social media, on the website and everything else during the week. But we will be on at 9 o'clock in the morning if you're in the UK or Ireland, or 10 o'clock in the morning if you're in Spain, Central European time. Yogi says, how do I get in touch to claim my prize? Well, you either get in touch through our website, u2spain.com, or go to upsticks.es, where you can send Chris a direct email, and you can leave your address there. Thanks for that, Yogi. And you live in London. Congratulations. Don't forget to check out U2 Yoga. There we go. Yogi, you might like this. You can get free yoga and meditation classes online on that YouTube channel. That's my wonderful wife, Liz. And of course, we do have merchandise available, and the address for that is below. Don't forget to buymeacoffee.com or become a patron on patreon.com. All of the links to all of these things can be found in the description below, or on our website, u2spain.com, which has been on your screen throughout the whole of this live stream. So that is all for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to be giving you the music soon. Please subscribe and click on the bell if you haven't done already. So peace and love, and I will see you all during the week on the midweek video and live next week at the usual time. Thank you very much. Prepare to dance. Bye for now.